In my town, there was an old farm that scared people. The family who used to live there did bad things and made deals with strange beings for good crops. My friend Alex and I were curious, so we decided to explore the farm at night, even though people warned us not to. As we went deeper into the farm, it became foggy, and we could barely see. The old house looked spooky, with broken windows and vines all over. We found a door leading to the basement and went inside. But when we tried to leave, the door shut tight, trapping us inside. In the basement, we found traps set up by the old family to catch intruders. The fields around us were full of hidden holes, snares, and strings that could catch us if we weren't careful. We were scared and felt like something was watching us, making everything even scarier. As we explored more, we saw the ghosts of the family members who once lived there. They were angry and seemed to want us to leave. They moved strangely and made spooky noises that scared us even more. We held each other tightly, hoping they wouldn't hurt us. Time passed, and the farm felt like it was closing in on us. We felt trapped and hopeless. But then, we found an old book that told us about a ritual to lift the farm's curse. We needed special things like herbs, an amulet, and moonlight dew. We hoped it would work and save us. To our surprise, the items we needed were right in front of us. We did the ritual and apologized to the spirits for coming into their home without permission. The ghosts seemed to calm down, and the farm stopped feeling so scary. The door to the basement opened, and we ran out as fast as we could. We escaped the haunted farm and vowed never to go back. The traps that once threatened us didn't harm us anymore. The ghosts allowed us to leave because we showed them respect. The farm remained haunted, a place to be avoided, reminding us that some things are better left alone. There was a farm in a beautiful countryside, nestled between fields of golden wheat and swaying corn. It belonged to my uncle, and we loved visiting it. But the farm had a scary legend that frightened everyone in the village. The legend said that every year, on the night before the autumn equinox, the scarecrow that guarded the farm would come to life. It would leave its post and roam the fields. Nobody dared to face the scarecrow, as those who tried never returned. They would vanish mysteriously. My cousins and I didn't believe in the legend at first. We thought it was just a story to keep kids away from the fields at night. But one year, when we were helping our uncle on the farm, strange things started happening. Late one night, we heard weird noises outside the farmhouse. It sounded like whispers and creaking sounds. When we looked out the window, we thought we saw a shadow moving among the crops. The next morning, our worst fears came true. We found our farm animals dead. The chickens, goats, and even the big horse were lying lifeless. We were terrified and believed that the scarecrow had indeed come to life and caused the deaths. As days passed, the scarecrow seemed to become more dangerous. Our crops started dying, and the once green fields turned barren. Unable to bear the loss, we decided to confront the scarecrow. Armed with pitchforks and lanterns, we went out one night to face the terrifying figure. As we got closer, the scarecrow suddenly moved. Its button eyes glowed strangely, and it let out a terrifying scream that froze us in fear. But Uncle Edgar had a plan. He used an ancient family talisman and chanted a protective spell. A powerful wind swirled around the scarecrow, trapping it. The scarecrow let out cries of pain and disappeared into the ground. After that, our farm started thriving again. Our crops grew, and the animals became healthy. We thought we had defeated the curse of the scarecrow. Years passed, and the legend of the scarecrow faded away. Life on the farm returned to normal, and we felt safe once more. But, unexpectedly, on the next autumn equinox, the scarecrow reappeared. We were ready to face it again, armed with the knowledge of our ancestors. We discovered that the scarecrow was once a guardian created to protect the land from an evil force. But over time, it had become corrupted and started hurting the farm instead. We knew what we had to do. Under the full moon, we performed a ritual to purify the scarecrow's spirit. The scarecrow changed before our eyes, losing its scary appearance and gaining a gentle light in its eyes. The scarecrow was grateful for our help. It stopped roaming the fields and became a protector once more. It watched over the farm, ensuring its safety and prosperity. The legend of the scarecrow no longer scared people. It became a story of hope and triumph. It taught us that with unity and compassion, even the darkest times could be overcome. I loved my farm, surrounded by peaceful countryside. It was so beautiful, with golden sun rays on the hills and green fields stretching far away. But one scary night, everything changed. The evening felt strange, silent. Usually, the farm was full of animal noises, sheep bleating, cows lowing, but that night, there was nothing. I felt like someone was watching me, and it scared me. In the morning, I discovered the horrifying truth. All my livestock had disappeared. The sheep pens were empty, and the cattle stalls were deserted. I looked everywhere, but there were no signs of struggle or any clue about what happened. Each night that followed was terrifying. It felt like something evil was haunting the farm, making everything silent and spooky. Even the neighbors had no answers, and some whispered about an ancient curse, punishing the farm for some old wrongdoing. I didn't believe in curses, but I couldn't ignore the strange things happening. I sought help from a local historian named Mr. Harris. He told me a story about an old curse placed on the farm long ago. It said that a wicked farmer had called upon dark forces to curse the land. The curse demanded a sacrifice of the livestock every few decades to satisfy its hunger for souls. Desperate to save my farm, I looked for a solution. I found a wise woman who knew about the supernatural. She agreed to help, even though it was dangerous. We performed ancient rituals to cleanse the farm and protect the remaining livestock. But during the rituals, I felt a creepy presence around us. The wise woman warned me that the evil spirit wouldn't stop until all the animals were gone. One night, I decided to stay in the barn to protect the remaining livestock. As the clock struck midnight, the barn doors flew open by themselves. I held a talisman for protection, feeling the fear creeping up on me. An eerie figure appeared in the darkness. It had glowing eyes and floated above the ground. I knew it was the cursed spirit, the one I had to banish. I recited the words the wise woman had taught me, calling upon the powers of protection and light. It was a fierce battle, and the ground shook with the struggle. The livestock were frightened, but I didn't give up. Finally, the evil spirit let out a terrible scream and disappeared into the night. The curse was broken, and the livestock were safe. The first light of dawn brought relief to me. It was a warm day in summer when my younger brother, Alex, and I went on an adventure. Our town had an old farm that nobody used anymore, and we were curious to explore it. The farm looked old, with paint that had faded, and the walls were starting to fall apart. We felt a mix of excitement and fear as we entered, trying not to make too much noise. Inside, it was dark and quiet. We explored the old farmhouse and found hidden rooms and secret passages. It felt like we had stepped back in time, discovering things left behind by people long gone. We lost track of time, absorbed in the mysteries of the place. As the sun began to set, we decided it was time to leave. But suddenly, we heard a loud creaking sound, and the floor beneath us gave way. The whole farmhouse collapsed, burying us under piles of debris. We were scared and hurt, but luckily, we weren't seriously injured. In the darkness, we called out to each other, making sure we were okay. We knew we had to stay calm and figure out a way to escape. We found an old lantern with some oil, which gave us a little light to see. We realized we were trapped in a cellar hidden under the ruins. We searched the cellar for any way out. Eventually, we found an old wooden door that was partially covered by debris. With a lot of effort, we managed to open it and found a narrow staircase leading upward. We hoped it would lead us to safety. We climbed the stairs, feeling hopeful that we were getting closer to getting out. But when we reached the top, we found more debris blocking our path. Still, we didn't give up. We used all our strength to clear the way, knowing we needed to get out as soon as possible. Time passed slowly, and we were tired and scared, but we kept going. Finally, after what felt like a very long time, we created a small opening. Light came through, and we could feel fresh air on our faces. We knew we were close to escaping. With one last push, we squeezed through the gap and emerged from the ruins into the open air. It was nighttime, and the stars were shining above us. We took deep breaths, feeling relieved and grateful to be out of that dark place. But our ordeal wasn't over yet. We were far away from town, and we needed help. Thankfully, we found a small shed nearby, which gave us some shelter. Inside, there was an old radio that still worked. We called for help and waited anxiously. Finally, rescue workers arrived, and we were safe. Our parents were so happy to see us alive and well, and we hugged each other tightly. Afterward, we thought about what we had learned from our adventure. We realized how important it is to stick together and stay strong when facing challenges. We also understood that taking risks like exploring old, unsafe places is not a good idea.